This morning on BRN, a loss of smell can negatively impact your mental health. Joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, Dr. Michael Leon is a professor emeritus of neurobiology and behavior at the University of California, Irvine. Dr. Leon, it is so great to see you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
Look, I love the sense of smell, my sense of smell. I love being able to go to my mother's kitchen and smell her baked goods, or go to a nice restaurant and smell food that hopefully I'll be able to eat. It's just something that it's an important sense. How important is smell to our overall mental health?
So it turns out that most people regard their sense of smell as their least important sense. But it turns out that the human brain evolved at a time when there was plenty of odors in the environment. For example, nobody ever took a shower. But now people get very little olfactory or odor stimulation. And that's really a shame, because the olfactory system, the odor sensing system, has the only direct superhighway access to the memory centers of the brain. All the other senses eventually reach it and can affect it, but they have to take the brain's side streets. And so they have much less of an impact on the memory centers. If your brain doesn't get enough olfactory stimulation, the memory centers literally start to deteriorate. And they deteriorate both because we don't get much odor stimulation. In fact, if you took a deep breath now, you probably wouldn't smell anything. And our systems also are damaged because of the only neurons, the only neural cells that are exposed to the environment. And so they can be damaged very easily. Air pollution, smoking, stress, childhood stress, menopause, a wide variety of medications, toxins, all of these things can damage the olfactory system. And they all damage the memory system as well. Most people are familiar with COVID, when they lost their olfactory ability. It turns out that has increased the risk for people, because with the pandemic, a large number of people additionally have developed Alzheimer's disease. And Alzheimer's disease has its first symptom as the loss of olfactory ability.
So, I mean, I can tell you that there are certain smells that trigger memories, as you were saying. Are there ways, if you lose the sense of smell or you don't use it and therefore it atrophies, it's the only way I could describe it, it goes away or it weakens. Are there ways to improve our sense of smell to try to get it back, to rebuild that connectivity in our brain?
Yeah, so now there are over 20 studies showing that you can improve both the brain's memory centers, the olfactory ability, and your ability to remember things by giving olfactory experiences. So we call it olfactory enrichment. Others call it olfactory training. And basically what it means is that you're giving multiple odors to people on a regular basis. Single odors won't do the trick. It's the experience of having many odors that's important. And the most dramatic finding that I know of is that you can actually reverse dementia, mostly Alzheimer's disease, by giving 40 odors twice a day to people. And there's a rapid and dramatic improvement in memory, unlike any drug that's been used for dementia and unlike any other practice that's been used for dementia. And
Yeah.
so olfactory stimulation actually can improve the minds and the memory of people who have dementia, which is extraordinary.
I mean, that is fascinating. I think that probably a lot of people listening, watching this and listening to this, and they have a loved one who is suffering from cognitive decline, this may be a way to quote unquote reach them. Is this something that is when people are dealing with when practitioners are dealing with these types of patients, that they're actively saying, let's try smells, let's try experiences to try to regain that connectivity?
Well, there's been enormous interest in it. So we published a study a year ago in which we gave older adults olfactory enrichment while they were sleeping. And they had a 226% improvement in their memory, which is better than anything I've ever seen. And so people are very interested in it. Over 360,000 people have viewed the article that we published. And so there's an enormous interest in it. At the same time, we recognize that people are not going to give themselves 40 odors twice a day. And so we've developed a device that does it automatically while you sleep. It's called Memory Air, and it will literally deliver 40 odors twice a night as you sleep. And we think this is also going to garner a great deal of interest.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about that device? I'm fascinated by that because, of course, I grew up with scratch and sniff books. I would imagine this is a little bit more technologically involved.
Well, it's taken us several years and several $1 million. So yes, it's much more sophisticated. Just getting 40 odors into a device is novel. We have it developed. It's now being manufactured, and we hope to have our first devices in a few weeks. If people are interested, they can go to memoryair.com, one word, and we think it's going to be a very important part of the treatment of memory loss, both for prevention and for treatment. And we see a great deal of interest among older adults. 10,000 people have already signed up to get one.
I would imagine that there are going to be a lot more people once they view this show and they see other pieces on the product. I mean, why not try it? So good luck with that. Let me go back to something you mentioned during COVID. Some people lost their sense of taste, sense of smell. Is there a way to reconnect with your smell? Have we been able to discover, not we, have you and other practitioners been able to, researchers been able to discover the ability to get some of those senses back?
Yeah, so it's the same mechanism. So if you give people multiple odors on a regular basis, they will, some of them will improve their olfactory ability. Others won't, and it's been tried with other drugs to see whether that can improve the outcomes. But so far, the best outcomes are with olfactory training, giving multiple odors on a regular basis.
And this training, is that the only tool that you can use as an individual to prevent loss? So like, is that tool something that I should potentially get over the counter to try twice a day to maintain my sense of smell so I don't lose it? I'm 52. Yeah. Presumably I'm going to lose control of my faculties over time. Muscles will atrophy. I'm sure my brain will atrophy. So are there things that I can do to kind of strengthen my sense of smell?
Yeah, so by the age of 60, both your ability to smell things and your memories start to go downhill, and they go hand in hand for the rest of your life. And so we think it's an important thing to keep your brain and your olfactory system in tip-top condition. And so we think that a lot of people who are not older adults are going to be interested in having the olfactory enrichment that we can provide. And that's probably true for children as well. So we think there's an important developmental aspect to this whole thing. And so basically, we think that the ability to have a healthy olfactory system is really important for your brain. And there are now 7 large epidemiological studies showing that after, by the time you reach middle age, your all-cause mortality, that is, whether you die for any reason, can be predicted by your ability to smell things. So it is a dramatic finding.
You know, underappreciated sense, but nonetheless an important sense. Dr. Leon, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you back on the program again very soon.
My pleasure.
And don't forget to subscribe to our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Details at our website. We're back again tomorrow for another edition of BRN. I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.